You're listening to the Content Sales Podcast, a show all about how to create content to attract, convert, and keep your ideal clients. Welcome to episode 228. I'm Suzi Dafnis, and here with me is my co-host, Michelle Falzon. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hey, Suzi, I am doing really well, thank you. The year is off and racing, I have to say, and I am looking forward to another new year ahead of us.
Yes, it does feel like it's racing already, but I feel like every year gets a little bit faster. I don't know what's happening, but we've got some really great projects and plans for the year, which I'm excited about. And of course, we love doing this show for you, our dear listener, and we've been planning out our 2024 episodes. We've got some really good things coming your way, including some really inspiring guests, hot topics. And we're also going to be revisiting some of the topics that we covered way back when we started this show, with updates and going deeper on some of these core content marketing ideas. And on today's show, we're going to be digging into a specific tactic. Now, if you're a regular listener, you'll know that sometimes we go really big picture and strategic here on the show, and other times we get very tactical and specific. And that reflects how we need to be as content marketers. It's a blend of having the strategy in place, having the big picture in mind, but also then needing the tactics to get into action. And one tactic that could be really useful for you if you're offering an online course or a challenge, a live event, a summit, or some kind of workshop or program, whether it's in person or online, is to offer a VIP ticket option.
Yes, this can be a real game changer, especially if you're not currently doing this. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why this is such a good strategy for you. And we'll get into some of those on today's show. Now, if you are offering a VIP option, we've also got some tips and ideas that we're going to share in today's show that might help you make your VIP more effective for you and for your customers. So all of that's coming up. But first, let's start with answering the question, what the heck is a VIP option? What is a VIP ticket upgrade? What might this strange thing be? Now, this is when you offer an option for people to pay extra for exclusive access or extras that the general admission participants to your event or your course or your summit or your program or your online workshop, etc., they don't get. So you can offer a paid VIP option even when the general admission price is $0. So let's say you're offering a free workshop or a challenge or a preview style event where the whole idea, the whole business model is to get as many people along as possible because it's free. And then at that event, you add some incredible value and then you make an offer for the next step, which is some kind of paid offer. So even if you're doing something for free, and this might be a common thing you do, say, when you're offering a webinar or a challenge or a workshop or a short online course, or even in some cases a full day live online program, when you're doing that, you can still offer a paid VIP option. So you'll have a bunch of people in the room who've just in there for free, and then you'll have those people who've paid to be there. And we're going to be talking about what you might do and how you might do that. So for example, I've got a colleague who offers a 5-day challenge. Now the challenge is absolutely free. And then they give people the opportunity to upgrade to a paid VIP ticket once they've registered for the free challenge. And that paid VIP ticket is somewhere, depending on which challenge they're doing, somewhere between $47 and $97. So a bunch of people paying $0, and then a certain percentage of those people opting to give you $97 to get that VIP option. Now, you can also offer a paid VIP option, of course, when people are paying something for the general admission ticket. So another example of that, I've got a client who offers a 3-day event, and it's a very intensive event with a really great value that it delivers at the end, and they charge $2,000 for this event. Now, for an additional $500, you can upgrade to the VIP option. So again, they've got people in the room, and this is a virtual event. They've got people in that virtual room who've paid $2,000 to be there. And then they've got people who've paid $2,500 to be there who are the VIPs, and they get special extra perks. We'll talk a bit more about the perks later. And just to give you another example at sort of the lower priced end of the market, I've got another client who charges $47 for their online training, and you can upgrade to VIP for an additional $50, making the overall ticket price for the VIPs $97. And again, those VIPs get extra perks.
I love this. And I want to give a couple of examples of where we've used this idea. But one thing I do want to point out is that these people who have a free event, who are then charging between 47 and 97 or whatever for their VIP, that's not how they're going to grow their business and monetize the business. This is just a sale, an upgrade on the way to perhaps making a more high ticket offer. So I just wanted to, if you've never done this sort of thing, I just wanted you to really understand that what we're not saying here is offer something free and then something for $47 and that's a viable business model. We're saying this is an opportunity if you're already doing something free or low cost, or even as Michelle gave that example, whatever you're offering, there might be an opportunity to pull in a little bit more income by offering VIP. And I know some of my colleagues use that extra VIP income, Michelle, to fund some of their advertising dollars. So,
Right. Yeah.
so we've done this exact thing, this VIP option during online challenges where we've offered this VIP option where women might get more time with me or with each other, and we have interactive networking and workshops on some of the topics covered only lightly in the free or low cost challenge. We've also done this with our Business Growth Summit for Women Entrepreneurs, which is a free week-long event where we bring together world-class speakers and best-selling authors and inspiring entrepreneurs to share their growth strategies. And those who choose the VIP option have the chance to work again more closely with me to put the strategies that our experts shared into their businesses in a practical way. So there's really no limits on the combinations that you can offer. And before we go further, let's get really clear on what we're not talking about here today on this episode. We're specifically focusing on adding a VIP option to a course, a challenge, a program that you might be running, whether it's free or paid. What we're not talking about is adding VIP levels to a membership, for example, if you have tiers of access in a membership. And we're not talking about making high ticket offers. Each of those could be topics on their own episodes and probably are and will be. Although, as always, you can pick things up from any of our episodes that you can map across to other things. And so if you can get some ideas from today's show to help with your levels or tiers in your membership or jog some thoughts about a high ticket offer, great. Just know that we're not giving specific advice about those two areas today. So now Michelle's given you a wonderful sense of what a VIP option is. You might be asking, well, what do you typically give as part of the VIP ticket? You know, you mentioned going deeper or more time with you, but what might that look like? What's included? What would make a great VIP offer? Here's what I know. Here's what Michelle knows. Most VIPs, they want to feel some level of exclusivity and being special and having access of some kind that everyone else doesn't have. And this can include things like, for example, special seating at the front of your in-person seminar or workshop or event, or even a special lunch or exclusive welcome dinner and drinks if you're doing something in person.
Yeah, this is a great example, Suzi. You know, I am attending an event later this year. I actually just had to go and look it up. I was like, I think I booked in for something later this year. When the heck is that? And it was just top of mind for me because they did sell a VIP ticket option, which included access to a dinner the night before. And unfortunately, by the time I registered, those tickets were all sold out. How great would it be, by the way, just to the side, this event sells out a year in advance.
Yeah,
and
isn't that
so
fantastic?
it's fantastic, right? So they were all sold out. Otherwise, I definitely would have purchased that VIP upgrade. And it's exactly what you said, because that's something that I would have liked to have had access to. It would have made me feel special. I would have got a chance to meet the participants ahead of the program. You know, it's an extra perk. I want to, you know, the bragging rights that I'm a VIP. And, you know, if there's a lanyard, I don't want silver
Yes,
on my
that's right.
lanyard,
You
right? I want gold.
want VIP. I love that. We ran live events for many, many years all around Australia, New Zealand, and United States in an event business that I had for 13 years. And also for her business, we have run live events for many years. And we found that people love getting these special access privileges at those events, you know, sitting closer to the speaker or the guests, or getting access to the front of the line for a post-event book signing with an author, a photo opportunity, the different coloured lanyard, you know, some gifts and things that had them feel like a VIP.
Mm. Yeah, we all want to feel like a VIP. Well, actually, not all of us. Some of us are quite happy to get in for free or pay
Mm.
just the bare amount. But we do want to cater to those people who will pay more. And another great tweak on that is offering a special lunch. If you're doing something in person, particularly where VIPs get an extra up close and personal Q&A with the expert
Yeah.
speaker, and I've hosted those kinds of events, Susie. I know you have. I've also paid for that kind of access when I've been a participant at events.
Yes, me too. Me too. Because, sometimes when it's a big room, you don't get to ask your own questions. I know for me, when I've taken the VIP option, I've had a better level of networking. It's a smaller group typically because not everybody takes up the offer. So loads and loads of benefits. So if you're doing an online workshop or a course or a challenge, there are a host of other options available to you in terms of what you might give people who pay for VIP. So we've mentioned a couple of them, but you could give them access to the recordings of the training, whether it's an in-person training that you're recording or an online event like we do. There's something that you might not give that recording to everyone who's in general admission, especially if your event is free. But it is something that people always want, is those recordings. So it's a high demand item and likely to be something that people will pay for the VIP upgrade just to get those recordings. The other thing is hot seats. Now, you might be part of an event or training where you do some kind of hot seat. And a hot seat is where one person sits in the hot seat, whether it's an in-person or seat or a virtual seat, and you're focused on them exclusively. And you do a deeper dive into their specific issue or challenge that they may have in their life or their business, whatever your area of expertise is. And you can even say in your marketing that only VIPs can apply for the hot seat. Now, everyone else in general admission might be watching, but they don't get the opportunity to be in that hot seat. So again, this is something that will have a lot of interest from your audience and will have a very high perceived value because it's that extra attention on themselves. So it's quite motivating for people, and it will likely lead to a good percentage of general admission ticket holders upgrading and going for that VIP for the chance to be in that hot seat.
Yeah, and you use such a good phrase there, that perceived value, that perception of, yes, well, I want a chance at the hot seat. That's something that is really desirable. And that's what we're always looking for with our VIP inclusions. And, we started off sort of talking about the in-person things you can do, like live in-person lunches and sitting at the front of the room. We started looking at some of the things you can do in a virtual event, like giving the recordings. And as you said, Susie, you can even do that in a live event, right? Where you might have somebody at the back of the room capturing that on a camera. And just tuning your antenna to the fact that you can use some of the ideas that we discussed for live events, like that special VIP only lunch. You can do that in a virtual environment. And I've done many of these with clients where VIPs get a separate Zoom link if you're doing it on Zoom or whatever platform you're doing it on. And they get this special VIP lunch. And that can be any manner of things. It could be the Q&A with the expert. It could be some sort of facilitated process where they actually put to work some of the things that they've been learning during the day. It could be extra access to coaches and other people who help implement the program if that's relevant to you. It could be networking opportunities. So in a virtual environment, especially on a platform like Zoom, you can create really pretty easily, you can create these breakout rooms, these breakout groups where, let's say you've got 100 people at your event, you can create 10 groups of 10 or 20 groups of 5 and give people some sort of networking prompt to speak to. And then they go off and they get this opportunity to work more closely with others. And, Susie, I think that's something many people have missed about a live event. We've got this great sort of rise in virtual events, which we're both fans of, but we miss what happens in the hallway or what happens, over the lunch break or walking to the room. And I think people see a lot of value in these virtual networking opportunities.
Absolutely. And this is something we do all the time inside of her business. And, when you do it a few times, and like Michelle said, you devise the right prompts, you possibly even curate the groups based on certain criteria where you might put people who are like with like. The value is extraordinary. And it just takes a little, facilitation skills, but I would definitely give that a go because it just adds another layer of intimacy and experience for those inside of your programs.
And there's just, like you said, Susie, there really is no limit to what you can do. We're just trying to give you a bunch of kind of thought starters and get you on Planet VIP. And depending on the unique elements in your course or your event or your challenge or your summit or whatever it is you're thinking about maybe adding this VIP ticket option to, there may be tons of other great ideas you can apply. So, for example, I have a client who they sell an 8-week online course. It's $2,000, and there's every week there's a live training, and then 2 days later there's a live Q&A. Now, when you buy this course for $2,000, you get the opportunity to upgrade to VIP for an additional $500. Now, part of that upgrade, part of what you're getting, that special access, that status that Suzi was talking about, includes this idea of priority treatment. And the priority treatment covers things like during the weekly Q&As, if you are a VIP, your question will get priority over general admission questions. Priority access also puts you at the front of the queue for the done for you service that they sell along with the course. So when everybody buys the course, they get this little done for you piece included as a bonus. Everybody gets that. But as part of this sort of golden ticket, this VIP option that VIP priority that the VIPs get, they get put in the front of the queue. So, if there's 1,000 people doing this course, which this particular client has that many and more doing the course, they are getting at the head of that queue is something really valuable because they all want their thing done for them. And so the idea that I get put in the front of the queue really has that perceived value that Suzi was talking about. And think of it like the business class line at the airport. Everybody that's flying economy, they're waiting in the big long line. And then if you're fortunate enough to be in business class, you just walk up to the business class counter, no queue, and they'll serve you next over everybody else in the general admission queue. And that's exactly what this priority kind of access looks like as one particular way to address a VIP benefit. So maybe the cogs are turning in your mind about what priority might look like for your course, for your summit, for your program. Another colleague who does live challenges. So this is somebody signs up and every day you get one particular activity you need to do in a short period of time. They have thought about the perks unique to the way they're delivering their program. So the challenge actually happens for free over on YouTube, which I think is a really interesting idea. Now, the VIP participants, if you've paid and upgraded to be VIP, you get to be in the Zoom room where it's actually happening, and you can comment and be seen by the celebrity presenter. Now, I don't know if many of you kind of have watched a lot of these live Zoom events that have got pretty high production values, but you can see the participants behind the presenter. You can see they'll publish their comments sort of on a scroll and things like that. Now, you don't have to have all the bells and whistles to even make that sound like something really valuable to your VIPs. And a number of my clients and colleagues also include a charitable component with some or even all of the VIP ticket price going to a nominated charity. And Suzi, just 100% backing up that point you said earlier, the VIP ticket, while it's a nice bump in revenue and you absolutely want to get that bump in revenue, you can use it for your ad generation and other things, it really isn't the holy grail. It's not the thing that's going to necessarily give you the viable business. What it does is it sets you up for a bunch of success, and we'll cover why that is in a little bit. So keep listening for where the real value in getting a VIP ticket holder is for you. So like Suzi said, there are really no limits on what you can offer. Just make sure you're including some form of extra access, extra status in your VIP offer.
I'm getting excited. I haven't done a VIP offer for a couple of years, and we're working on a couple of projects, and I'm like, oh, VIP. There are a couple of pitfalls, which, we'll make sure we cover before we go as well, where the VIP could actually take away from your larger offer. I want to make sure we circle back to that, Michelle. Why would you do VIP? So you've been listening, we've been saying, you think, wow, this is a lot of work. I'm going to give them extra access. I'm going to do networking events. They're going to come to a dinner. Why would I do that? And why would I consider giving away to charity, as some of the cases that Michelle mentioned that a lot of her colleagues are doing? Well, it comes back to a few things we know about human behavior. And the first is the adage that those who pay attention. And this is particularly relevant if what you're offering is a free event or course or challenge or program or summit or something like that, or in-person event. Someone can be super excited to sign up, and then because they don't have any skin in the game, meaning they haven't paid any dollars, they don't feel bad about missing it. or they don't take it as seriously as they would if they put some money down. And that holds true for an event or course with a low dollar general admission. When someone pays even more to attend as a VIP, you increase the chances of their attendance and, most importantly, their engagement in what it is that you're doing. And we've actually tracked this, and we know that those who are in the VIP part of our programs show up more often and stay longer than everyone else. And this is important because you need people to pay attention. You need them to attend, engage, and really get the value of what it is so that they will buy the next thing that you're likely to offer. And so, for example, each year of the last few years, we've hosted some sort of an online challenge. And the aim of that challenge has been, or online workshop or boot camp, has been to get as many women business owners who fit the profile of our ideal client to participate and get really great value so that they want to join the Her Business Network. And during these challenges, I make a number of offers to join our paid Her Business Network membership. So I want as many people who register for the challenge to show up and participate, because that's the first step in getting them moving forward, buying what I'm ultimately selling, because they're there, they're engaging, they're getting to know me, they're getting to get the value that's going to make then talking about our network so much easier to do and so much more palatable to them to say, oh, if I got this much value here, imagine if I stuck around longer.
This is such an important point you're making, because we're seeing declining show rates. That's the number of people that actually show up. So the percentage of people that register versus the percentage of people that actually turn up is going down. And it's across the board for everything. And I get, to see inside a lot of businesses. It's not just a one-off. This is happening. This is a struggle. The struggle is real, people. This is something that's happening for a lot of businesses, both large and small, for everything from webinars to virtual events and live events. And, I'm even seeing declining show rates for some of my clients in paid events where people have paid a considerable amount to be there, like thousands of dollars. The no-show rate is going up. And I think, that's a whole other conversation we could have, Suzi, about the value of people's time. If we're not really providing value, we're not giving them enough reason to be there, enough sense of urgency about the problem that needs to be solved, they're just not turning up, even when they've paid thousands of dollars to be there. So you really do need to be pulling out all the stops to get people engaged and turning up. And VIP is a really great way to do that. They pay, then they pay attention. And like Suzi said, she's been tracking it. Her VIPs turn up, they stay longer, they get more involved. And that's across the board with all the client work that I do. We see those same statistics. It is kind of freaky how consistently better VIP show rates and attendance rates and stick rates are over general admission rates. So that's the first reason you want to consider adding a VIP ticket option, getting people just simply to turn up and engage. It is not a fait accompli just because they registered. The second reason is that VIP ticket holders very often will account for a higher percentage of your ongoing sales. So that is, if at your challenge or your online workshop or whatever it might be, you're offering the paid next thing. It might be your paid membership. It might be an online course. It might be a coaching service. It might be consulting. You might have an agency where you provide some sort of done for you service. You will likely find that VIPs convert at a higher rate than non-VIPs. Now, this is not always, and Suzi made a really good point earlier that we are going to circle back to around when the VIP can sort of shoot you in the foot. But generally speaking, what you'll find is those VIPs convert at a higher percentage, especially when you know kind of some of the certain strategies to deploy. Now, part of that is because they paid. So they're paying attention and they're turning up more than those general admission participants. And therefore, they're getting more of your value. They're understanding how awesome you are, and they're really absorbing the content and realizing, I've got to really deal with this, right? So they're engaging with you. And part of it is because once someone has paid you something, they are just more likely to buy from you again. They're more likely to pay you again. And this gets back to Cialdini, somebody both Suzi and I absolutely love and respect, his principles of influence. And one of those principles is this idea of commitment and consistency. And it's this concept that once we've taken one action, we tend to want to take further actions that are consistent with that first action. So I saw a great example of this the other day. Susie, and it was somebody in a webinar said, look, you've turned up here. You've already determined or proved that you're somebody who likes to take action.
That's great.
And so now what I'm inviting you to do is to take the next step, and they just were highlighting this idea of being consistent with the action they'd already taken simply to be on the webinar. So once somebody's paid you some money, the chance they're going to pay you more money immediately goes up. And this is just human psychology, regardless of what you do, of course, you're going to do things to make that better. But that is a motion. That's something you're setting in motion just by getting people to pay you a little bit for the VIP.
I love that. And I love that principle. Michelle mentioned Cialdini. That's Dr. Robert Cialdini. He's the author of a book called Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. And his book is one that when someone joins our mastermind, it's a book that they get, where it's a book that we've given to all our members of the Her Business Network as part of our book club. And if it's one you haven't read, this is one that I know both Michelle and I have on our desk for frequent referencing, because it's, there are numerous principles that as marketers, as business owners, as content marketers, we absolutely need to know. And so what we're going to do a little later, we're going to give you the show notes details, so where you can get more information about anything we've covered here. I'm going to give you a link if you want to buy the book. I know we've got a stack of them sitting downstairs. We have some left over from when we did the book club book. So if you would like to buy a copy, I'll give you a discount, and I'll put more details in our show notes page if you want to get a copy of that book. But it's in our recommended reading list, which came out just a couple of weeks ago. But if you would like a copy, I'd be happy to give you our discount to get that. So another reason VIPs and those who take up the VIP option in your programs, a reason that they can convert at a higher rate to your other paid offers is that they tend to be the people who buy, right? They've already demonstrated that they are willing to put their credit card in and pay some money. So they're the ones more likely to pay for someone to help them so that they can get the result faster versus trying to piece it all together or free searching YouTube, trying to figure it out on their own. So in many instances, the VIPs can be your best customers. And I've certainly found that to be the case.
Absolutely. I absolutely love my VIPs. One of my biggest goals when I'm doing some sort of campaign is get as many VIPs as I possibly can, so that I've got, I'm just setting the scene and making the best case for my offer when I'm about to make the offer, because when people pay, they pay attention. And when people have paid you something, they're more likely to be paying you something else. So we've talked about Cialdini, we've talked about those reasons. One other thought I just had too that helps get those higher VIP conversions is that the VIP treatment itself often gives people an even better experience. Like if they do get a hot seat with you, they're far more likely to experience firsthand the value that you've experienced. And if you're not doing hot seats, whether it's for VIPs or not, if you're not doing hot seats or some sort of opportunity for some people in your live event or in your challenge or whatever it might be to experience working with you, absolutely do it. Because I know, Susie, we find when we do things together, very often the person that was in the hot seat goes on to buy the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, almost every single time.
Yeah.
So we've given you quite a few things to think about when it comes to what a VIP ticket option is, what it might include, what you might want to consider offering a VIP offer. Now let's have a look at when and how to offer your VIP ticket option. So generally speaking, if you're offering a free event or a course, we recommend first getting someone to simply register for that, whether it's a challenge, a summit, an in-person workshop, whatever. The main goal is to get someone to first register for that ticket, whether it's free or paid. Then on the thank you page, where you confirm their registration, so they've put their details in, they then see a page. We call that the step 2 page. We have a great episode about this here on the show. That's where you make your offer for the VIP option. So ideally, you want to think about this thank you page as another sales page. So you've bought the thing, even if the thing's free, you've said yes to the offer. Now I'm going to say, yep, got that. And would you also like this thing? And this thing you're having to sell again. That's why we're saying, think about this thank you page as another sales page and another opportunity to get someone to take further action with you. And you can learn more about the essential elements of a sales page in episode 206 of this show. It's called the 16 essential elements of a high converting sales page. So you need a strong reason why someone would need to and want to buy your VIP upgrade. You really need to speak on that page to the problems that being a VIP will solve for them. You need to share what they get for their upgrade and how much it is. You also need to think about what sort of things will help them say yes. So social proof. So letting people know others have done this and loved it. And even if it's your first time doing it, if you've had some sort of VIP experience with clients that you can call on, use those as testimonials. And you need to think about risk reversal. Will you give a money back guarantee? So that always helps get people over the line, even if it's a small investment or a large investment. Can you help people feel ready to click that buy button and upgrade to VIP? That's the work of that thank you page. And we suggest that that's the way you do it. You let them buy something first. So they're in your program. And then as the next thing you say, hey, and by the way, I have this VIP option.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got anything, as Susie said, that is free, you're doing a free challenge, you're doing a 3-part online workshop, you're doing a free summit over a week or 2 weeks, or whatever the time frame is, you're doing a free webinar, that is absolutely, I agree, the way to do it, because you don't want to be losing all that benefit of free by putting that paid VIP option right there on the first step of the process on your free challenge or on your free course. Because free is such a powerful concept, and you're going to get a lot of initial interest in this idea that it's free. And you don't want to kind of be then fighting with that benefit and going against that momentum by saying, oh, and also if you don't take the free, you can take the paid thing. And now they're kind of umming and ahhing. You just want that greased slide, that really easy first step into free. So I agree with you completely, Susie. You want to first focus on getting the initial registration to that free event, the challenge, whatever it is you're offering, and then on that thank you page, make your VIP offer. And if you can, a video on this page is really compelling. Of course, if better to launch without and just get it going. But I really love, this is one place I really do love to put a video. So first off, on that thank you page, that step 2 page that Susie mentioned, and we've got a great episode on that Susie referred to, and we'll put a link to that in the show notes. First, on that thank you page, the key thing first, though, you don't want to overlook, is confirming the step they've just taken. You're in. Your free ticket has been locked in. You've secured your place at the something challenge, right? And whatever else you've promised, like if you're emailing them the ticket or whatever it is, and you want to reassure them at that point that everything they signed up for is now theirs. And you may even reiterate the inclusions of the free thing. And then you say, and all of that is free and it's all going to be fantastic. You're going to love it. And if you've done this event before, you might say, 5,000 other people have done this program or 300 other people have done this program and they've absolutely loved it. And then you want to pivot to the VIP. And a really great way to do that is to say, but if you're someone like me who likes to go all in, let me tell you about our VIP experience. And then you go and share with them those extra perks they can get as a VIP. And when you're sharing what those perks are, you want to share what it is, but also why that's beneficial. And that's all those things that we were just talking about, priority access for the done for you offer. That means you're not going to be waiting to get your XYZ completed. You're going to be at the front of the queue, getting priority access to the hot seat. Explain why that is beneficial. And ideally, you want this video to be super short, like less than 3 minutes. And you can then just put that same information on the page. And you definitely want that big buy button right there.
I love that. And I just want to point out that Michelle was giving you a really, really important clue about what to put in on that page. And as you're telling them what the inclusions are of VIP, is that she's not just telling them the feature, she's also giving the benefit. So when she says you get the hot seat opportunity or you get to go to the front of the line, she's telling them why. And so often we can get stuck on listing the features and not really explaining the benefits. And actually, once again, there's an episode for that, isn't there, Michelle?
Of course, we've been joking about getting T-shirts made. There's a podcast for that.
Which is all about features and benefits. So if you struggle to think beyond the list of the features and to think about the benefits, you might want to check out that episode. So you might be saying, well, that's all well and good. What if my event or my course, etc., isn't free? Well, here's the thing. You have a choice. You can take the option we've just suggested for the free events where you simply promote the one clear offer, the general admission free ticket. And then on the thank you page, you offer the VIP paid upgrade. This can work great and means you're not asking anyone to make any decisions before they register because, as we said, the goal is to get them in the program saying yes for the first time. So that's one option. And that's what you're getting. Go ahead, quick, buy this thing. But you could also consider having the ticket levels available on your initial sales page. So what might that look like? So for example, you might offer a standard and a gold package. Same as VIP. You don't always have to call it VIP. You know, there's different ways that you can highlight the fact that it's something special. And so people can choose which package they're purchasing. So if you do that, if you do put the two options, here's, the silver option and here's the gold option, here's the standard option, here's the VIP option, here's the free option, here's the VIP option. If you do that, you want to make sure that it's clear on the page what the difference between the two offers is. And you want it to be easy for someone to do the comparison and easy for them to buy. So either one button where they choose the offer on the order form or two columns, if you can imagine this graphically, two columns on your page or two sections in your email that have different buy buttons for each level. But you want it to be so clear what they get with each level of access, whether it's the standard or the VIP. You want to make it easy for them to choose the one they want to go with.
Absolutely. And so just to reiterate, if you're doing free, if the thing you're offering is a free challenge, a free course, it's pretty easy. Just offer the free thing, that agrees shoot, somebody clicks free. Yes, I want it. They come to the thank you page and you offer the VIP. If that first thing, your challenge is paid or your workshop is paid, then you've got that choice that Suzi said. You can either do exactly the same as you would for free, which is, hey, here's my thing. It's $47. They click, they buy, they pay the $47. They go to the thank you page and you do exactly what we said for free. Hey, you've now got everything. You're in. It's all going to be awesome. And if you're someone like me who wants to go all in on something, let me tell you about the VIP option or let me tell you about the gold ticket upgrade. That's one option if your front end thing is paid. Or, like Suzi said, you can publish both of those things on the sales page where they're making the decision. Am I going to pay $47 for this or am I going to pay $97 and get the gold option? And I've done both things, both ways. I've had it where it's been a two-step process. They don't know about the VIP option when they're buying the first step, or I've published both pricing options on the sales page. And if you're not sure which way to do it, and both work, pick one way to do it and test. I've had success with both approaches and it can depend on the situation. Like if there's a really big contrast between what the VIP gets versus what the general admission ticket gets, like often the recordings, if I'm doing a virtual event, that's a real biggie, then you might want to show that on the sales page, especially if it's super simple to explain. Like people understand you're going to get the recordings or you're not going to get the recordings. And most people really understand and appreciate the value of the recording. So that's something I could pretty easily explain on those two columns that Suzi was talking about. If it was a bit more complicated, I might hold it back and just sell the general admission ticket on the sales page and then offer that VIP as an upgrade after they've purchased that first step. Also, it's not just one bite at the cherry. So while you might have somebody come to your sales page, buy your $47 ticket, then go to the thank you page and see the upsell for the $50 VIP, they might not buy the $50 upgrade at that point. But if you've got a bit of time between when they've registered and when the event is, you can keep offering the VIP to the general admission.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to those general admission people. So in all your reminder emails for the event, think about how can you add that in? How can you feature some great thing that's going to happen with the VIP option? And, hey, when you upgrade to the VIP, you can also get XYZ. Click here to upgrade to VIP now. Another place that's also really excellent to offer the VIP upgrade is at the start of your online course, your challenge, your summit. You might want to consider leaving your VIP registration open for a short period at the beginning. So instead of closing off all the ticket sales, all the VIPs like the night before or whatever it might be, you might leave the VIP open. And here's why. And I had a really fantastic experience with this a couple of years ago. And we almost did it sort of by accident. We were running this 3-day event and people were already paying a couple of $1,000s to be there. And we taught something in the morning that really brought home how important the VIP option was going to be. And it was almost, Suzi, like we didn't realize how clear it was going to make it for people that weren't VIPs, just how much they were missing out. Mm. And we made the offer at the morning break to join VIP. We said, look, if you're suddenly realizing, hey, I really should have upgraded to VIP now that I'm seeing what's involved, we're going to keep the VIP open until lunch. So go ahead now. We've only got limited spaces, so go and grab it in this morning break, and it's definitely going to be closed by lunch. And then at lunch, we made a second VIP offer. It was gangbusters. It was the best VIP upsell we've ever had. And it was because by accident, we'd kind of orchestrated the structure of the morning to really help people see the gap between general admission and VIP. Of course, you have to be careful about that so people don't feel completely ripped off. And that's all part of what you need to be managing, right? Mm-hmm. But when you do that, if you do that, apart from like really thinking it through strategically, and you never want people to feel less than, you want all your general admission ticket holders to feel whole. But if you do offer it, you do want to close that VIP off early. So if you're doing a 1-day event, you close it off, at the morning break. If you're doing a 5-day challenge, you close it off on day 1. And whatever time you've picked, you pick that time, you hold that line, and then you never mention VIP again as an offer, other than to give instructions to those VIP people as needed. Like if you've got a VIP virtual lunch happening before everybody goes to the lunch break, you'll say, now if you're VIP, check your email. We've sent you your special VIP link to the virtual networking lunch, for example.
I love that. And I love that how you found that out by accident.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was then a rinse and repeat.
Oh, yes, we definitely incorporated that from there.
So we hope you're starting to see how and when you might be able to use the VIP upgrade strategy that we've been sharing and how to use that in your content and your marketing. One important point I wanted to make as you start to think about what your VIP offer might be or how you might up-level what you're already doing is this. Be careful you don't add more work unnecessarily. It's easy to fall into the belief that you need to offer a ton of stuff to justify the VIP option. And likely you're already doing a ton of stuff just to run your webinar or your course or your challenge or whatever it is you're doing. But what the reality is, it's really just thinking about what might be a few things people will really want and offering only those. So what is something that everyone will want that you might already have that you can add? For example, something you can add to the mix or pull out of the main offer and make part of the VIP offer only. So for example, we said recordings a couple of times. Are there cheat sheets or worksheets or swipe files, or is there some one-on-one access like we mentioned, or an extra implementation session or networking or longer access or getting to the front of the line? Like you don't have to throw it all in. Just think about what might be a few, and I'm saying few in capital letters, that people will really want. Like you don't have to add in everything that we've just mentioned. We just gave you a few different ideas. And, people, going back to what Michelle said, so many of us are so strapped for time. And so you want to think about that. If I'm already committed to this free thing, I know it's going to take 5 days or 3 hours or whatever it is, and then the VIP is going to take that many more hours and that much more energy and thinking, I might say no. So you just want to have it be something that elevates the existing offer, that doesn't make it cumbersome.
Yeah, I 100% agree with this advice. And exactly what you're saying, putting too much in can actually sell you back out of the VIP. People are like, oh no, that sounds like extra work. And, anytime you're ever doing any kind of upsell, the golden rule is to think about, how can I just be helping people get what they've already mentally bought from me or perhaps paid money for from me? How can I just help them get that faster and easier? So, maybe the VIP people get the done for you option, or that's where the hot seat comes in, right? I'm going to get a faster result because that person's going to answer my question directly, or I'm going to get to the front of the queue. So just whether it's a VIP or anything, just keep thinking when you want to offer an upsell to an existing thing, you don't want to go too far left of field. It's really about how can they take the thing they already have told you they want and just get it faster and easier. And then, of course, that great point Suzi made right at the start, how do we feed their ego? How do we help them feel that sense of status and access? So 100% agree with that advice. And I also wanted to kind of hark back to something we touched on before about you always want your general admission people to feel like they got something great. And when you're thinking about what might I pull out of the main offer, like when, before you've launched your campaign, you might go, I'm going to take Suzi's really excellent advice. I'm not going to add a whole bunch of extra bells and whistles. I'm just going to pull this one thing out of the main offer and make it kind of the centerpiece of my VIP offer. It's a really good strategy. I recommend it all the time. Just make sure you're not pulling the piece out of the main offer that everybody would expect is just included in the main offer. So a great metaphor for that is that when you go into a car dealership, you might option up with a sunroof or mag wheels or, air conditioning or leather seats or whatever. But everybody expects the car's going to have 4 wheels. Like whether they're just going to, I'm not going to think that that's an optional extra. My daughter, Suzi, just bought a fancy new razor and she was so upset because it didn't come with the razors.
I might be upset about that too.
Yeah. And fine print on the back, it said, please note the razors are not
Batteries not included.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But be careful you're not pulling out the thing that people would expect because that can leave a bad taste in people's mouths. If I went to a car dealership, Suzi, and they said, great, here's the deal. And I signed off on the car and they said, okay, now to get the tires, that's going to be extra. There's this expectation you're going to throw the tires in. That's part of the main deal. So everything Suzi just gave you, think about, they're all really good things to pull out, but just always think about, make sure I'm not taking the wheels off this car. So I love the recordings, the cheat sheets, the swipe files, the one-to-one access. That extra implementation session can be great. Longer access. So if perhaps everybody gets access to the recordings for the 8 weeks of your course, but then after that, it's all going to close. But if you're a VIP, you get longer access or first access, more credits. I've got a client that has a SaaS product and it requires credits to make their product work. And so the VIP option gives you more credits, right? That's the thing that they've found people want. Bring a friend or getting extra seats or getting extra units of something. That can be another great thing. CPD points, if what you offer gives some sort of professional development credit, how's that something that might be intriguing for a VIP? So remember status, remember access. There are some people who will always take the VIP option in all they do. They want that status. If they, I know people like this, Suzi. If they just see that there's a gold or that there's a first class, they're just going to tick the box because that's how they roll. And then there's going to be those who will only, they want to save money, but they see there's this one thing in VIP that they really want and they decide, yep, I'm going to upgrade just this one time. So your job is to find what those highly motivational things are. And as we said before, an easy one if you're doing a virtual event is recordings.
Very, very good. I want to loop back to something we talked about earlier, which is, when can having a VIP offer actually move people away from buying whatever your main offer is? So as we said earlier, we see the VIP offer as like a bit of a bump in a sale. It gets the people who they want that extra access, they want that first access, they want the done for you, whatever it is. But ultimately, you're likely selling something more expensive, more exclusive, more hands-on as a result of running this either free or paid offer. And so one of the things, and I've got firsthand experience, is that sometimes with the VIP, we think, oh, well, they're VIPs, so I'm going to give them everything and the kitchen sink and so much value and so many bonus this, that, and the other thing. And what happens is it's like going to a buffet and just over-consuming. You're like, well, I don't want anything else. And so what you don't want them to do is be so full that they're not hungry for the next thing that you have. because that it just works against you, because the extra $49.97, $500 is likely going to be nothing in comparison to the thing that you really want to sell them, whether you sell one-on-one services or one-to-many services or products. You don't want it to cannibalize ultimately your sales by having them go, well, that's enough. I don't need to do anything else with Suzi.
Oh, I'm so glad you circle back to this, because exactly the point you made, that yes, it's nice to get that extra $500 for a certain percentage of your buyers. But chances are, if you're running a $2,000 program and VIP upgrade is $500, if you're not, you want to seriously be thinking about, how do I now offer those people a $10,000 something or a $15,000 something? And you don't want to, as Suzi so clearly put there, cannibalize that $15,000 sale to get a $500 bump on the VIP. So everything we've been saying, all the advice we've been giving you, you really want to be thinking about, when I give people this VIP access, how is that going to help them see how good it will be to work with me ongoing, how good it will be to buy my coaching program or to buy my $10,000 agency done for you package, or to, take my $20,000 solar installation package, or whatever it is that you happen to be selling from this form of content marketing you're doing on the front end. And this really comes back to, again, one of the key foundation pieces we've talked about on the show over the years, and it's this idea of the problem solution dance. And this will, in general, help you to stop overfeeding your audience and stop having them kind of go, well, look, that coaching program sounds really nice, Michelle, but I'm just going to sit here with these 25,000 great resources you just gave me in this $100 program and work my way through those. And maybe I'll circle back to coaching later. So the problem solution dance is what we're talking about. And it really is this idea right from the beginning, whether you are giving people an ebook or you're giving them a free webinar, everything at the beginning, the problem you're solving at the beginning, you are really aware of how that problem, how you're going to solve it on the webinar or on the course or on the challenge, and then what new problem that's going to open up for your audience. And you need to be articulating what that new problem is. And then the next thing you're going to sell, your coaching program, you're done for your service, your solar installation, whatever that is, that's how they can solve that problem. So we're always giving value because we're solving problems, and we're always teaching people what to want in the next step, teaching them what the new problem is they're going to have. It's like, once you've learned how to drive, the new problem is, how do you buy your first car? Well, we happen to have a training on how to buy, what to look for in your first car. One of Suzi's best funnels was started with how to find your ideal mentor. Well, once you knew how to find your ideal mentor, it was like, well, my new problem is now I've got to go and do it. And this is going to be hard. And well, what do you know? We've got a whole mentoring service where we've handpicked all the mentors for you. We can just fast track that whole process for you. So if you're interested in learning more about the problem solution dance, which is relevant, incredibly relevant to making sure your VIP offer doesn't cannibalize what's next, go and check out the episode that we have on that. And we're going to put a link to it in today's show notes.
So good. We've mentioned a bunch of resources in today's show, different episodes, some of which have downloads that are going to help you walk through things like the problem solution dance, or even the step 2 example that we mentioned earlier, which is, what to put in your thank you page, what we mentioned about how to have a really successful sales page. I'm going to let you know where to find all those resources in just a moment. But first, I want to appreciate those who are sharing the word about this show. So your recommendation to a friend or a colleague who runs their own business and could do with some good marketing help means the world to us. And the best way to support the program is by leaving a rating and, most importantly, a written review over on Apple Podcasts. And we love sharing the tips, like we shared today, with as many business owners as possible. So if you would take a couple of minutes to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, we would love it. We already have over 100 5-star reviews, which we're very proud of. One of our regular listeners is the lovely Melanie Campbell from Confidently Perry. She said, I start every morning listening to the Content Sales podcast. There's so much incredible value in there from both Suzi and Michelle. It's the best podcast I've ever listened to. So many actionable tips. Well, thank you
Oh.
so much, Melanie. I know, how nice is that? So her business is called Confidently Peri, and she offers different coaching programs for women 40 plus who are in perimenopause. So anything we mentioned here today, and we mentioned quite a few fabulous resources that support this episode about how to offer a VIP ticket option, you're going to find over on our website at herbusiness.com/offer VIP, all one word, herbusiness.com/offer VIP. What do we have coming up in the next episode, Michelle?
Suzi, we have owning your niche, and we've done a few episodes in the past about niching, and it is so important for you to really be clear about who you serve and who you don't serve and how you articulate that messaging. And we're going to talk a bit more about that on the next show. But here's the really interesting thing, I think, for the next show that you want to tune in for. It is about the psychology, your psychology as a business owner to really own your niche. And we'll be talking about claiming your space and not being afraid of going after the niche you really want versus the niche you think you should have. And we're going to explore through our own personal examples how helping you kind of own your niche helps you to get clearer about the niche you have. And that kind of sounds a bit confusing, but when you get onto the show, you'll see what we mean. The more you step into truly having what you want and then really owning it and showing up and being seen in the space as the leader and the go-to expert for that very specific group of people, the more traction you're going to get, the more success you're going to get. And we're going to be sharing some examples of people who've done this and how you can too, and why this is the key to unlocking more sales and falling back in love with your business.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm excited for that episode. Michelle and I, we listened very closely for what people are asking us, women inside our mastermind, members inside the Her Business Network. And so when we're coming up with the episodes, it's very much in response to where we feel people are tripping up or where we feel an opportunity for people to get better results. And this owning your niche is an important episode. I think whether you've been in business 5 minutes or 50 years, it's an important episode. If you don't already subscribe to the show, hit the subscribe button wherever you are listening. And if you're listening on our website, then there's a subscribe button there as well. That means as soon as that episode is out, and we're releasing episodes every 2 weeks, you will get that episode. And I know there's a great resource to download alongside that episode coming up as well. So thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time right here on the Content Sales Podcast. Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Suzi.
Bye for now.